Welcome everyone to another edition of the Civilization Battle Royale. My name is Dawkinzz and let's get right into part 115. Hello everyone, welcome to part 115 of the wonderful Civ Battle Royale. This is user Cardboard Mech, also just called Cardboard for short, longtime Battle Royale watcher, sometime OC creator, occasional Civ modder, and your narrator for this part. This is my first time narrating a CBR part, and I'm quite excited, so join us. This is a graph of land area per turn by user W Burrow, and it shows the rise and fall of contenders over the course of the Battle Royale. The rise of Brazil at the end is pretty scary. And surprising nobody who's seen the current state of the cylinder, Brazil takes the top spot in the power rankings yet again. Pedro now has the longest #1 streak on top, and it probably won't end. Here's the beautiful tile-accurate map by user Der Erlingkonig. We see the swathes of unbroken lime green covering 2 continents and large parts of 3 others. This is personally my favorite map, the tile-accurate-ish map from user Spherical Melon. It looks so pretty, and it gives plenty of information too. We haven't seen Africa in a long time, so we don't know much about the current state of that area, but hopefully this part will find out a thing or two. Our first shot shows 3 civs making peace with Pedro and instantly being forced back into it because, you know, total war. A capital somewhere in the cylinder falls. Tuninuk comes under assault, though it will probably take some time to fall. The Inuit have some plains on this front, while Brazil does not. The northern Inuit homeland looks relatively full, but the Brazilians are slowly coming north as the Carnival begins to melt the snow. Summer has come. Interestingly enough, Ekenik has moved his capital to Natfarvik, a city Iceland founded, not one of his own. Under siege by its former owners, the difficult terrain will keep it from falling for now. More Brazilians head north. Ingolfur starts moving the Icelandic carrier fleet around Greenland to try and protect it from Brazil. Only one carrier of 33% on the slide has an air unit on it. Even in total war, Big Carrier retains its tight grip. Iceland flips Limerick back, but they're taking too many losses here. No city on the slide is at full health now, and Iceland itself is visible at the very top, and it's looking kinda empty. All of this will be just Pedro soon enough. Just Pedro. Yes, Stockholm has fallen. The brave Swedish defenders fought hard, but even the father of modern warfare cannot stop the Carnival. Trondheim also falls as well. The Swedish government has relocated to the eastern Linkoping, while the northern Jyväskylä falls to Brazil. It's pronounced Jyväskylä. Alright, thanks for ruining the fun, Cardboard. In our world, Jyväskylä has come home to Lauri Pekala, the inventor of the Pesapallo, or Finnish baseball. What the hell is any of this? Sweden seems to be beginning to run low on units, but Gustavus will probably hold on for some more time. The green line between Sweden and Sibir is now quite wide, though there hasn't been much movement on this front. Kuchum Khan has rushed more units to the battlefield, and Gorky, Dijon, Akrafuom, Kuovola, and Jeonsu could fall, though they would probably flip back, and then flip back again. Such is total war. Attila's court, Sintra, and Tus are back in Pedro's arms. Back in baby's arms. Yep, Patsy Cline. What's alarming for Sibir here is that there are almost no Siberian units between the Aral Sea and Kashlik. Kuchum needs to reinforce this gap in his lines quickly or risk losing his capital. His core looks dangerously empty now, too. Sibir tries a push towards Ningxi and Fujian. Vuvd, whatever it is annexed. The site of a bloody meat grinder in years past, Kuchum Khan can only hope he can keep it at that. The Burmese front, one of the most static ones yet. Brazil has slowly started to push units forward. Lhasa could fall, though the strong Vietnamese air force here might slow them down. Pedro takes Denpasar, bringing the outer Indonesian isles under Brazilian control. Vietnam takes back My Son, cutie, with a rare naval melee unit. XCOMs land on Sumatra and Borneo, hoping to grab some more cities. Amravati looks likely to fall. My Son might be Brazilian too next turn, depending on what kind of phase he's going through. Pedro takes Wangari and looks to hold it. Australia takes back Orange and Surabaya's at low health. Amusingly, Krakatoa is actually Australian. I don't see much of the Australian military here, with only a handful of ships present. Where is the Wabagong? Wasn't there some kind of conspiracy about that? Weren't they supposed to be good? Luma, the last holdout of the Boers. An XCOM squad and a hover tank guard Kruger's last city, all that remains of the Great Boer military. His robotic body seriously damaged in the fall of Africa. He looks out the window. His digital eye sees nothing beyond ice and sea. No one is coming for him today. Snow begins to fall on the Antarctic city. Imagine what it is like in Luma. Brazilian soldiers reinforced with robotic infantry move to secure northern China. Sibir is annexing cities to the north. The cheeky city of Hue dares Pedro to take it. A long time ago, this was the abode of Mao. Now China is but a memory, only leaving their #1 best-selling book, their novel, How to Fight Wars Good. Anyway, you remember that meme from like 2 years ago? What was it? And Pedro could soon be the master of this land. Just Pedro. Not much change here, with the borders staying for now. Zagansk looks to fall, but to who exactly? Most of the units in the area are Siberian, but there's a Brazilian XCOM in range, and a couple of Korean units within 2 turns. The Brazilian exclave of Ambarchik looks safe for now, until Siberians or Koreans get closer. I'm going to spare Dawkinzz, thanks cardboard, to not mention the Korean city by name. Let me zoom in on this thing. Let's see what this says. Alright. Hold on. Enhance. 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 Verkenvichlusk. Nailed it. Seoul is in the red with Brazilians half surrounding it. Unless Sejong can pull off a miracle, his capital, once one of the most advanced cities in the world, will fall. Of note, every Brazilian city on the slide except for Busan is in the red. Fortunately for Pedro, no one has a melee unit in range of his cities. Here we see Vietnam hold Vegan, pronounced like vegan for Dawkinz's benefit. Why is everybody just telling me this now? Against a trickle of Brazilians. If Pedro manages to get more units in, it'll fall. Hoi An remains Brazilian until the Trungs can get a biotrooper in. Hanoi is in the yellow from the Brazilian bombers, making sure that the citizens know that Pedro is coming. Korea tries attacking Mililani and has embarked units on the way. The lack of any Aussie military presence in the region could mean that Sejong could actually take it. There is a Brazilian advanced destroyer in the area, however. Wat Jalom is taken by a Brazilian XCOM as the Inuit and Korea try to take back the former Blackfoot Island on the Aleutians. Come on, Pedro, resurrect them. Pedro seems to have started annexing cities in southern Mexico. Not much yet in terms of a Brazilian carpet here, but there could be one soon. The area seems to have recovered quickly from the war too. Seems so long ago. Not a single annexed city in sight. Brazil does have a significant air force here, probably moving up to or supporting the campaign in the north. The Great Plains are mostly empty of military units, though there are a lot up on the front. Pedro may have problems reinforcing if he doesn't get enough units here. Somebody could just sweep in with some XCOMs and just sabotage the place. Could the Boers revive entirely? Is this the comeback we've been looking? No, it's not. A new turn comes, and with it a stack of peace treaties rendered void by the will of Nebuchadnezzar. Brazilians approach Inuvik and Simmerlik, and the latter looking like it will fall next turn. The Ice Sheet fleet seems to be mostly made up of cyber subs with an occasional carrier and an arsenal ship. I count a total of 1 melee ship in the entire Ice Sheet fleet. That fleet won't be flipping many cities without those embarked units. St. Catherine's falls to Brazil, who seems to be running low on frontline units. In the corner, Natfaravik seems to be holding out well. The Inuit have a lot of land melee units and could hold the Brazilians for some time longer, but their time is running out, like snow through an hourglass. Brazil takes back Limerick and captures Cork for good measure. Grindavik, which sounds like some kind of Harry Potter villain, is in the black and looks to turn green next turn. Once more, the Emerald Isle will be green. The Icelandic defense seems to be centered around Waterford, while Iceland itself seems empty. Reykjavik is still damaged. Well, Jönköping is gone, most likely raised by Brazil last turn. That was real fast. The Brazilians still hold Stockholm and approach Västerås and Gdansk, even over the heroics of the Swedish Air Force. Every Swedish city is filled to the brim with aircraft, as well as the carriers. They know what they're doing. What happened to them? Well, except Turku, which only has 5, which, well, that has proven to be their weakness, I guess. Sibir takes Akrofum, but there is a large Brazilian concentration around Kuovola. Interestingly enough, Akrofum is an Ashanti city name. I'll quote the entire Wikipedia article about it. Akrofum is a town in the Ashanti region of Ghana. The town is known for the Akrofum Secondary Technical School. The school is a second cycle institution. Wow, that was a roller coaster. Thanks for joining me on that one, guys. Brazil pushes toward Kashlik as Mini Pedro decides that the capital must be the primary target. Clever little AI. Kuchum Khan rushes units to Shazarasabz as the Brazilians approach the city. Slegaich and Bakahan look to be holding as reinforcements arrive via Beaumont. I think I will have said every single city name by the end of this entire CBR. If anyone is out of their mind and wants to do a master cut of me saying every single city, go for it, and I'll give you a prize. The Brazilian Raj. One of the jewels of the empire, it is largely annexed with the new cities of Uberlandia and Feira de Santana built as symbols of Brazilian power. The north and east are taking damage from bombs but are secured by ground troops. Are there even any other civs in this slide? They just have total dominance. Brazil trades Jakarta for my son and Surabaya. Jakarta will fall back to Pedro next turn, however, so it really isn't that bad of a deal. We see mainland Australia again. Some cities are taking bombs, but there is a significant amount of modern ground units in the area. They're not quite a full carpet. A Boer cybersub sails west of Kajina, attempting to re-establish contact with Skynet, but failing miserably. It is safe for the time being, since the Wabagong are nowhere to be found. The submarine tries again, but Kruger no longer controls Skynet. Pedro does. Just Pedro. And they keep getting that, like, AOL, like, and then someone picked up the phone, knocked him off. Am I just the oldest person in the CBR? We see the southern Philippines for the first time this part. Manila is Vietnamese, Olongapo is Brazilian, and other cities take damage, including Davao, my hometown. Is that really? That's true. That's pretty cool. I hope I butchered it. Sorry. I think I can see my house from here. It's probably been bombed, though, so that sucks. Brazil does seem to be attempting to turn Vietnam into an enclave, cutting them off from Sibir and now Australia. Sejong amazingly still holds his capital. Kyoto somehow is at full health, and several Brazilian cities are undefended. Henry Parks has kept Gladstone Australian for now. The Koreans have been doing a great job defending and haven't collapsed just yet. Only a Vietnamese exclave borders Sibir now. Pedro has done a very good job in his gutsy attempt to cut Vietnam off from every other empire. Brazilian units now hold the mountain passes and a long string of cities all the way to Jeoju. The Brazilian snipe of Wat Jolum is bombarded by Korea, whose nearest melee units are some distance away. Sejong seems to be also bombarding the Inuit cities to the north, because why not? The Aleutian Island cities seem to be safe and all are a light powder blue, baby boy blue if you ask me, due to there not being any enemy units in the area. The Koreans have a naval presence, but all the Inuit have are small garrisons and some planes. Or are they nukes? Tonanuk has been captured by Brazil. Inuit units rush south to recapture it as Pedro presses toward Mitamatalik. Alright. Eknik is running low on melee units here, and the entire Alaskan theater could be at risk. The Wabagong finally appear off the coast of Hawaii. There are no Brazilian units in sight. They are all away on other fronts. Actually, no, top right corner. There it is. Waipahu. The Brazilians are ever present, always watching. The only melee units Parks has here are land units, however, so they're not going to be doing many good invasions. Coffs Harbor stays Aussie due to a ceasefire, but is in the yellow with Brazilian ships still visible nearby. The same AI peace deal keeps Tamworth and Shepparton Australian for now. More Brazilian ships are present here, ready to swoop in and take down the cities. How long will Antarctica remain dark green when it can just be a beautiful lime? Simmerleek is Brazilian now. Pedro's units continue marching north, slowly but surely. All will become Pedros. Just Pedro. Iceland is pushing towards Natfaravik with a mix of biotroopers and robot infantry. Ashawa is in the yellow with a Brazilian paratrooper in the area. Anything is for anybody's game, and by anybody's game I mean it's Brazilians. But how long will everybody else hold out? Sweden continues to be swamped with Brazilians. Wouldn't it be jungled? Pedro now seems to have directed a major push towards Gustavus's core. Finland, in particular, has quite a lot of green units. The long Siberian front stays relatively static for now. Siberian biotroopers are cautiously headed for the front. Brazil seems to be holding the line here for now, with no major offensives coming soon. I guess with all of those peace deals that went down, and then war being declared, everybody got bounced out into their own territory. It's like a little timeout, a little snack break, a little juice break. So everybody should be recharged. Hopefully we see more blood next turn. These mountains look to be the line once more. South of the line is relatively safe Brazilian territory, while north of it are the battlegrounds of southern Sibir. Pedro's offensive on Shahrisabz and Multan seems to be going well, but the lack of air support will hurt him in the long run. Just gotta keep on building. Will this be the same meat grinder that Sibir had with Vietnam? I'm not exactly sure. Both sides seem to be depleted of most of their units, but Pedro pushes on. Pedro's trying to surround Nakchuka with Brazilian units, but the biotroopers near it are having none of it. Sibir has air superiority, and Kuchum Khan would be well advised to use that advantage. I mean, come on, Brazil. I mean, you just consumed all of these cities, so I guess you can't push all these planes into range, but you need that air support, man. Every Brazilian city here is in the deep red. Vietnam even has land melee units in the area for the job, so that could be cool. Hao Lu could flip back. Singanzabo is still Vietnamese and at full health, and it's looking like Pedro's just gathering his forces. My question is, where are the Vietnamese XCOMs? Do they just not have a bias towards it? Brazil seems to love those dudes. No cities have changed hands since we last saw this area, but some cities have lost more health and citizens. Australia seems to still hold on to eastern Borneo, while the Philippines are divided between 3 green civs. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one and pronounce it as the Hue salient still holds. And Brazil seems to be incapable of taking more cities without air support. Most Brazilian units are facing north to the sizable Siberian force there. The Inuit take Sendai with a rare advanced destroyer. However, Korea is set to take it back next turn, possibly along with Brazilian Wat Jalum. Could Korea really come back and take down Brazil? Yes, they could, but they won't. Daegu and Cheongtur fall to Sibir, while Andong is taken by the Brazilians. Korea is beginning to collapse on land, and they have no way to retake those cities. I miss pre-reboot Korea. I don't. They have always been useless. The city name of my nightmares still holds, though, but it's under Brazilian attack. Brazil might be the one who ends up with the remains of Korea. Pedro knew what he was doing starting a war here. The only one who did is just Pedro. He did a really good job cutting everybody off. He just divides and conquers. It's like Jason Voorhees or some kind of villain in an 80s cult classic movie horror. That's the word I'm looking for. Horror movie bad guy where you just divide people up. You just split them up and take them down one by one. Another turn, another batch of Babylon vetoed peace deals. The Boers, Iceland, and the Inuit try to make peace, but nah, not gonna happen. I wonder what kind of peace deals those would be. Would they give away half their empire? Would they just pay in gold? No progress here for now. Imagine what it's like at the World Congress. The Inuit seem to have stopped the green tide for now. Good job, Ekanik. We all believed in you. It might be the plains, it might be the long distance Brazilian reinforcements have to travel, or it could just be the terrain. A similar situation here, the Inuit have held off all attacks and still hold Natfaravik. Good work. They'll keep holding out for the time being. I mean, Iceland is going to turtle up, and Natfaravik is just going to be behind those mountains. No one is going to really push towards them. Yeah, I think Inuit are going to hold out for a little bit while longer, and they're not going to be the next to go. That's going to be somebody else, I think. And that concludes Brilliant Predictions by Dawkinzz. Copacabana, Waterford, and Galway are all in the red and have Brazilian units next to them. That stinks. It's very likely they'll at least flip next turn, maybe flip back, who knows. On Iceland itself, Reykjavik and Thingvellir are in the yellow. Ingelfer hides in a bunker heated by a geothermal heat, dreading the time when the Brazilians make landfall. Pedro is using Trondheim as a jump-off point for the invasion of the Shetlands and Faroes. Southern Norway is beginning to feel the Carnival. A Brazilian carrier somehow finds itself lost on the wrong side of Tonsberg, though. Gdansk falls and Vastaras is in the red. Sweden is now clearly running out of units to send to the front, since the front is everywhere now. Brazilian embarked units also enter the southern Gulf of Bothnia. Never been there. Not many changes here, except this time Otrar is under serious attack. The battle rages on between Nokchuka and Rutog. I like how the Vietnamese exclave has a nice little pasture there for all their little sheep and all their little dreams. Rangoon falls and so does Lahore. Somehow that Vietnamese ship managed to sneak in past the embarked units and take the city. That's some daring stuff, Trung, striking back even as you lose ground. Wonderful. That makes for a good action movie. Now they're surrounded on all sides for the town of Lahore. Did they get confused thinking they were trying to recover Tibet? I'm not sure, but it could make a cool buddy cop movie. Pedro has Jakarta again, but lost Surabaya and my son. My son will quickly fall back to Pedro and stay Brazilian since the nearest Vietnamese melee unit is in the Straits of Malacca. Henry Parks of Australia, however, has more melee units and planes in the region and will probably hold the line for now, but everything here will be Pedro's eventually. Just Pedro. Parks has Alangapo now and has a biotrooper threatening Davao. Manila and Caloocan are Brazilian and the Australian air advantage is clear here. Hanoi is still at half health and a useful carrier is found near Hoi An, which is Vietnamese. More peace and more war. War is hell and it never ends. A large swathe of Brazilian cities greet us north of Caloocan, even with a small carpet in Chongqing area. This could be the site of Pedro's next push. Lagan is threatened in Korean cyber subs, one with missiles, menaces Brazilian Japan. Hue, Rakjia, and Tianjin are all feeling the pressure from the Brazilian mini carpets. Do we call them rugs? Or is that one of mini Pedro's units? Around the key cities of the front, It seems Pedro wants to hew in Hugh soon. Seoul remains in trouble but has a fair amount of troops for defense. Dawkinz's Bane, that's me, falls to Brazil and Zagansk is Siberian. The Inuit defense line moves to Olanyok, but with almost no support behind it. The Inuit may just be starting to collapse along this front. Another thing of note, the Siberian worker army marches east. Well, this is the last slide for today. Mililani has survived, and Yokohama is Brazilian now, down to 41 population. Last time we saw it, it was at 48 population and held by Australia. Pedro's tourism prevented a greater massacre. He didn't need to do as many purges as many other nations have had to do in the past. More proof that the Pedro we have here is a benevolent overlord. Well, this has been Cardboard Mech, or Cardboard, your narrator for this part. I'd like to thank Blue Cassette for giving me this opportunity, as well as everyone on the sub, and the Millard Fillmore Club, of course, the MFLC. You get a shout out. Hope you have a good day or night, depending on where you are in the world and when you're listening to this. And it was a pleasure to narrate part 115 of the Civ Battle Royale Mark 2.1. And with that, my name is Dawkinzz. Thanks for joining me. This is kind of a quiet part. I didn't really have many fun gizmos and gadgets to throw in at you. No songs to sing or anything, but hey, sometimes you have to have the calm to differentiate the other stuff. But we're gonna have plenty of cool stuff. The CBRX has concluded their voting, and we have a full world now. We're just finalizing maps and color schemes and any little bits and pieces that need to be taken care of. We'll be moving forward with some cool stuff that I'm sure you guys are gonna really like. But speaking of, if you like this, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. But for part 116, we'll see you next time.